me continue with the teaching. And for today, I decided I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about the masculine as the giver. Why is it that masculine energy, by its very nature, is the giving energy? Remember, last week I created 2 videos on feminine as the receiver energy. So masculine and feminine energies are not polarities, they are energies that dance and that intertwine. And once again, masculine and feminine energies are energies that what exist in everybody, in the man and the woman, in the male and the female. But I told you I'm going to repeat this until we get it. But as a female person, I am a custodian of feminine energy. What that means is that I am at my most natural when I embody and dance and move as the feminine. Yes, I borrow masculine energy, and masculine energy, I borrow it when I need to survive, when I need to act, when I need to work, when I need to push, when I need to be, when I need to provide, because masculine energy is the one that provides. Whenever you find yourself providing, you are in masculine energy. So as a person who is in the female body, I need to often borrow masculine energy, but I also need to take it off. And the reason we cannot take it off is because we are, I mean, this I've mentioned in other videos already. A lot of women in the world, a lot of Black women in South Africa are stuck in masculine energy. We do not know how to return home. We are exhausted. We are overfunctioning. We are not okay. You know, there is a lot that needs to happen for us to return home. And this is a big part of my work in my community on Patreon. If you could join me there for deeper teachings on feminine energy and how to return home, because it is our home. So feminine energy is the skin that I wear. It is the energy that I embody naturally. It is where I find rest. It is where I find my true self. It is where the wisdom of truly who I am comes up when I'm in my feminine. When I am in my masculine, I am doing, working, producing, giving, which is okay for a moment and little periods on time, not forever. The masculine, which is the topic for today, is the one that is at home when they are giving, doing, acting, offering structure, giving authority, leading, directing, results driven, and in the active. You know, again, the sun and the moon. The moon appears at night where we do what? Largely we rest. So the rest energy, the restoration energy, the healing energy is the feminine, and the receiving energy is the feminine. So one of the things that you will also start to realize as you follow my teachings is that it is very difficult to talk about the one energy without the other. It's very difficult to talk about femininity without talking about masculinity. But now that you are used to my teaching and you're used to my groove, I can relax and just continue. If you've just stumbled upon this video, welcome. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, just, you know, take a seat, take a pen and paper, and join the class. So yes, masculine and feminine are in constant dance. When one is wounded, the other one will definitely be wounded. When the other one is toxic, the other one is toxic. We cannot talk of toxic masculinity or wounded masculinity without talking about toxic femininity and wounded femininity. And in the last 2 videos, I spoke of how toxic femininity expresses itself when it thinks it's receiving, but it's actually demanding and controlling and steeped in lack and all that. But I will stick to today's theme, which is masculine as the primary giver. Why is it that masculinity is the giving energy? And I'm also going to talk about, you know, just so that we can balance and be fair, I'm also going to talk about how not to give, you know, this whole transactional thing that men do in giving. I mean, men have become extremely transactional with the giving. And in last week's video, I spoke of how I think that whole transactional relationship between men and women, this toxicity that we have around relationships where if he buys you something, then he demands this. If he does this, then he wants this. This whole transactional is actually based on wounded masculinity. It is not pure. It is not pure masculinity. Masculinity in its purest form, it is pure giving, unreservedly, without condition. Yes, I said that they give without condition, and we can use celestial bodies, and we can use nature, and we can use all sorts of metaphors that are around us that represents masculinity's purest form of giving, which is not transactional, not conditional. Masculinity cannot help itself but to give. The same way that when femininity is at its purest, it cannot help but to receive and then transform. So the whole giving and receiving is actually steeped in law. There is a law, there is a universal law that is called the law of creation, or the law of gender. For other people call it the law of gender. And the law of gender is about masculine and feminine. And at the core of the law of gender, of masculine and feminine, is that there can be nothing new, or there can be no new creation, there can be no new baby, no new idea, no new development without the dance of masculine and feminine. So masculinity, it is the giving energy. And let's use examples, shall we? The usual, and I'm going to start with the usual. If you've been hearing this, I'm sure you're rolling your eyes now. The sun. The sun shines to all. It shines to the bad, to the good. It covers the entire earth. It will rise from the east and it will set on the west. It will rise in Australia and it will set in the west. And everyone in this world without fail, from creatures as small as an ant to plants to humans to animals to rivers to trees, everything gets the sun rays. The sun rays are just free flowing, free giving, no reservation, no conditions, nothing. It is just pure giving. And I understand that I'm using a celestial body and a huge metaphor, but I want you to grasp it at that level. Grasp it at that level. And if you think of Mother Earth herself, she just receives all those sun rays. She just receives. And what does she do? She then creates this growth, these trees, these animals, these rivers, this everything flows. So without the giving, of the pure giving of the sun, there can be no life, right? And without the receiving, the pure receiving, imagine the earth saying, no, not today, I'm not going to receive it this way. There cannot be life. Yeah, I know it's a bad example, but there can be no life on earth. Another form of a nature is a metaphor of giving at its purest, as a pure giver. It is the sperm. You know, the masculine will give you millions and millions of sperms. A side note, and this is not a side note, it's kind of a side note. I was listening to this podcast. I don't remember if it was Sam Max's podcast or it was one of my favorite. I don't remember, but it was a podcast on how the guest was saying, if the world were to be, everything would just die out, like like Noah. Like if we were to be flooded and then a few humans remain, if let's say there's 30 women left and 2 men, those 2 men can repopulate the earth, because a man can sleep with 30 women in 30 days and impregnate them all. But if it was the other way around, where it is only 2 women and 30 men. Oh, sounds gross. That sounds traumatic. But let's stick to the point. The point is, if there's 2 women and 30 men, it would take so long to repopulate the earth, even with 30 men. So you don't need many men. You need 2, and you need 100 women. And those 100 women will be impregnated, obviously, if they're childbearing age and so on. You know what I mean. So they just give their seed. Speaking of seed, plants themselves. I'm a gardener. I'm no longer a budding gardener. I'm a proper gardener. And I'm always in awe when I cut up a tomato or open up a fruit or pumpkin or watermelon, the amount of seeds that are there. And that is the masculine just giving. And bringing it to you and me, because I know this is why you are watching. You want them Jolo side and you and me. When a man is absolutely in love, and when a man has no reason to doubt that his love is received, because this is why they say men love your women, so that the woman can then receive that love. It's the giving, the actual offering, anything that you do, anything that you give, anything that you offer. This act of giving is a masculine act, but it is also reinforced by the well receiving, receiving from a purest space. And like I said, I have created videos around how to receive well. Now, if he is received well, if his love is received well, I am telling you, this man will give you everything, And we've heard of men like that who will give you everything they have. A man will give you his last jersey. You see it in movies, you see it in real life. You know, it would be raining cats and dogs, and a man will take out his last umbrella and give you. I'm talking from pure now. People from pure spaces. I'm not talking about this one, which I'm going to talk about shortly. I'm not talking about this fake giving that is happening, this transactional one that has hurt our relationship spaces and relationship dynamics and has left us in this place where we are so toxic whenever we are online, we're just hurting each other, which is absolutely horrible and it needs to stop. Now, when the masculine is no longer pure, when it has been toxified, when it has been wounded, and does the masculine get wounded? That is quite a long story. As you know me, I like to go deep into origins of things. So I won't touch on that now, but you know that your masculinity is wounded when your giving has become transactional. And I just want to go through some examples of how not to give, and then I will give you the examples of how to give, and then we can wrap it up. You know you are a wounded masculine if your giving is this way. Only ever give if there's a transaction about it. And this is so dangerous because this is what's happening in the streets. You meet some girls at a restaurant or at a club, and you buy them some drinks or whatever they're having. You go to the waiter or you call the waiter and like give them another round. And instead of being giving like the gentleman would, like a pure gentleman would, you expect something out of that. One of them or all of them should go with you after that. So you know that that's a wounded thing. You're trying to get validated. You are insecure. You are buying affection. You are buying love. You are buying sex. You are just buying. It's transactional. And that is not pure giving. That's just, some wounded masculine giving. Because pure giving is boundaried, number one. There's a difference between unconditional and boundaried. So if you are a pure giver, you would know that, giving a bunch of drinks to some random girls at a club is not really giving. I mean, you don't know them. This is not giving. What is that giving going to do? In one of the videos, I mentioned how masculinity, especially in a home, in a relationship space, rather, in a relationship space, when your guy, assuming that the one who's giving is the guy, in fact, the example is based on if the one who's giving is the guy. When a man gives you money at home, um, subconsciously or innately or somewhere, they know that that money is going to become something. It's going to create a nice meal, or it's going to buy new curtains, or it's going to do something for the home. So when you give in a club or when you give random girls that you do not know, what is that give? So that giving is empty. It brings absolutely nothing back, which is why it's transactional, which is why you'll end up wanting cheap sex or some domination of some sort or some validation, things that do absolutely nothing for you. If anything, they leave you even emptier. So wounded giving is not boundaried. It's not based on anything ebambegayo. It is just based on ego and bravado and machismo and trying to increase your body count or whatever it is that you want to do. But it's not pure and it's not going to do anything and it will not bring anything back to you. If anything, it will make you even bitter. It will perpetuate the narrative that you already have that women just want money from men. Meanwhile, it's a vicious cycle. You're giving to these demanding girls, these damsels in distress, as per my last video, and it just perpetuates the circle over and over and over. A matured giver knows who to give to and when to give and where to give and how to give. So it's very logic based because logic is also a strong quality of the masculine. So whenever you are not giving from a sound, rational mind. You are giving from an irrational, chaotic mind, and that is wounded giving. And that is what perpetuates this problem that you see on social media, where it is because the giver is the one who is already wounded. And I'm not saying the receiver is not. The receiver is also wounded, but it is just not the true and the pure picture. Okay. The second way you know that you are a wounded giver is your giving serves uplifts, and actually helps others expand. So the same way that a sperm will make the stomach expand because there'll be a baby, or the seed will bring out more plants so that there's more fruit, or the sun rays will bring life. Your giving does that. You know, if your giving is just empty, then you know that you are a wounded giver. You're just giving to any rando, and there is something underneath that giving that is wounded. You know, it could be an insecurity when you were in high school. So now you are this man who works in Investec, or you're working in IT and you're earning a lot of money. Now you're going around looking for yellow bones, the hosh kari maimas, kari oli China, giving them, dating them, and giving them, but there is no purity, there's no purpose, there's nothing really real in your giving, except you are giving from that 14-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, so now you have a little bit of money, a nice little car, and a townhouse in Midrand, and you are just messing up. You know, you are a wounded giver, because the one who's giving is not the 34-year-old. It is the 14-year-old who knows no better, who is bleeding and still feeling rejected by these hush curry mamas, curry only Chinas. Oh, Jamie, mighty Jamie has given us a thing. You know, so if your giving does not expand anyone, does not uplift anyone, does not serve any greater thing, both in a relationship space or in general, or at home or wherever, then you know that your giving is very, very wounded. It is based on control as well. If, you know, in family spaces, you are the one with money and your giving is always about conditional, you have your favorites, you want the ice boys, you want to treat older people, people who are way, way older than you, as if kibana, like a malume, who is respected, who is the elder in the family, cannot start a meeting without you, because you are the one giving money in the family. And this goes for both genders, né? But I'm addressing really the men here. Excuse me, I'm addressing the men here because honestly, the giving is a masculine trait, and the masculine, the custodian of the masculine are men. And at some point, you know, we're gonna have to talk about the economy of this country, and find a way for the Black men to find a way of providing again. We need to find a way for men to get dignity again. And dignity in the times that we're living in is in economic strength or in some form of money. It's not the only one, but it is, which means it is a conversation we need to have. The fact that we have more Black men, more Black boys unemployed and not earning an income is a big, big problem. And it's a problem that's not going to be solved by men alone. And it's not going to be solved by women demanding that he must be employed. It is a problem that will take all of us, some form of national dialogue, a proper national dialogue addressing this type of things, you know, because, you know, we can talk about all sorts of provision, you know, from here to, we can talk about all sorts of provision. In the times we are living in, if money is a big source of showing that one provides, then maybe this is a conversation one day we need to have, where we are discussing ways that a Black man can find a way of earning an income. And I'm not talking here about millions or hundreds of thousands, but a decent income that can actually give him the dignity that he needs, so that outside everything else, he can at least provide some form of income. So the unemployment rate of Black men in this country is not also helping. And it's making this type of content, or this type of teaching, or this type of conversation really weird, because, yeah, but you know, it's not like Honali Chelete in many of these men's lives. And yes, we once spoke about provision not just being financial only, but the finances in the days we are living in is the biggest one. Not from, yeah, no, he must find it naranjan, but from a place of, can we find a way for the Black men to find a way of providing? And from the women's side, from us, the side, what we need to cultivate is lots and lots of compassion, lots and lots of understanding, and lots of help, provided the men do listen to us, because the woman is also the custodian of wisdom. The feminine has wisdom. And you know, wisdom helps when people listen to you. So yanong akuna motho utlwang o mong asizwani ngoba sihlala silwa, and we, it's like we get a high from watching yet another episode of Married at First Sight and seeing how Makoto was rude to Nkululeko, or how Tsepo and Balesa were cold to each other. These things need to end. I know I pivoted a little bit, but I hope it's coherent. And yeah, so I wanted to just touch on that, why is it that masculinity is the giving energy and that femininity is the primary receiving energy? Now, for the next video, I want to teach on the lover archetype. I want to teach on the warrior archetype. I want to teach on the sage, the healer, the teacher, the victim, the vampire, all sorts of archetypes. I've been wanting to teach on archetypes, and thank God for YouTube now. I think I can. They won't be long as well. They'll also be the same 15 to 20-minute videos just to introduce you to this other world of who we are as we slowly conclude the masculine and the feminine. You thought it would never end, ne? No, we'll wrap it up next week, but it will always come up somehow. It will always come up because, as I always say, I'm here for a long time. I'm here for a while, so it will come up. For now, this is my story. I hope it was coherent. I feel like it wasn't, but it's okay. These things happen. This is my story. I cannot wait to hear yours. Let's connect in the comments.